In this episode, I want to talk to you about the law of action. We've been talking about numerous laws the last several weeks. We're on, actually, if you look in the book, remember where I told you it came from. The book is called First Steps to Wealth, and you can get your own copy at destinyglobal.com. But this is so important, as we were talking about in the last episode about the law of decision. Now, once you make a decision, you have to put that decision into action. Because if you don't put the decision into action, you're not going to have any results. And any decision you're making, whether it's you're going to make dinner for the family or you're going to go out to dinner, whatever it is, if you don't follow through with it, there's going to be people that are disappointed with you, including yourself. What a decision is something that affects you, not only yourself, but other people. So as you're making the law of decision leads into action, because without the action, the decision was irrelevant. And I know that's kind of hard for people to follow sometime, but if you make a decision and you don't do anything about it, then it was nothing. It was literally nothing. So I want to read you this very powerful statement. It says, when we sit with indecision, we invite our enemies, procrastination, fear, unbelief, and excuses into our life. Think about that for just a moment. So when you make up your mind, you make a decision, the next step is action. And in action, if you don't do it, what happens is fear, procrastination. You're actually inviting it in. How does the enemy lock us down and get us to the point? It makes us feel anxious because you didn't take action. If you begin to take action in your life for whatever decision is that you're making, right? Whether pursuing a new job, for finding your spouse, for getting yourself out of debt, for looking for that new job, gaining new skills, if you don't take that step and start beginning to put action plan in place in your life, you will actually start moving backwards. Because what happens is you get the spirit of unbelief, which is very dangerous. That causes you to begin to doubt everything in your life. It is a spirit that literally comes in and affects your mind, which then affects how you treat other people, because you start feeling depressed. You're not getting the results you wanted. You're not going to have results unless you're applying action to your life. And action is simply demonstrating your belief in the decision that you made. So when you start thinking about this, once you've made the decision, commit to that decision. Begin to step into it. The small steps to get there, make sure you've counted the cost. And then as you take your steps of action, actions are laid out in steps. So think about, we've used this analogy in the past, to think about you're going to go make some cakes for people, right? I love this analogy because it applies in very simple. You first have to get the ingredients to make it. First you have to decide on what you're going to make, what kind of cake you're going to make. Once you've got that, right, you have to make sure that you have access to the resources, to the ingredients to make that cake. How you're going to bake it, how many you're going to make a day, whatever that looks like. But you have to make the steps to get there, right? And the same thing is true with any decision you make. Simplify it. So you want to start a new business. Okay. So what is your plan? What is the market you're going to go to? How big is that market? What are you going to bring to that market? What are you going to give that people want from you? Whether it's a specific skill or you're going to make a product for them. What's the market size for it? Making sure that you're making something that people want, right? So if you think about the law of action in your life, it can also apply to your family and to your spouse. Are you caring for your spouse the way that you should? Often these are the areas that get neglected. These are the areas where the law of decision is not taken into action. It results in heartbreak. It results in failed marriages. Because you get taught on something, you get fired up, you get excited about it, but then you don't follow up with action. You don't take the steps to change your life, right? You have to put them in place. And that is also through accountability, right? Why are you plugging in weekly? Listening to Pastor Dinesh and others, right? That is to take steps because you're getting action in your life and you're taking action each day, working towards the results you want. You have to apply action to decisions to get results. It's that simple. Once you make up your mind, commit to that. Why is it so important to commit? Because when you commit, that means that you're putting your heart into it, that you're putting your emotions into it, you're putting your passion. Begin to tell other people about it, by the way, because when you do that, people will begin to see you do it, and they'll actually become a form of encouragement to you. Now, sure, you're going to have people around you sometime that discourage you, right? And those are the people you need to take out of your life. Because when you start taking action and they start being the negative ninnies is what we call them, the people say, oh, why would you do that? Your life is good enough already. They're not the decider of what your future is. No one knows what the limit is. There is a man in the United States. His name was Abraham Lincoln. He was a president of the United States. He's the guy that actually ended slavery. He's the one that put into law the abolishment of slavery in the United States. Now, if you looked at his life up to the point where he became president, in many ways, he was a failure. I mean, people look at his life and think it was just all this glorious things. One of the greatest men in American history. His life was filled with failure. He did not win many elections. Local elections, at the federal level, he lost elections. He lost election after election, was criticized. His wife battled depression at different points, and all this is well documented. This isn't Ken Brown's opinion about Abraham Lincoln. It's a fact. But he didn't stop. You see, he committed with all of his being to be what he was feeling called to be. And when he stepped into that much later in life, so those of you that say, well, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70, I don't have any future, you know what? You have as much future as anyone else, but it's you stepping in and taking action. And Abraham Lincoln did just that and is noted as one of the greatest American presidents in history. Why? Because he committed to take action. And he did it. He didn't just say it, he did it. And he began to surround himself with people that held him accountable and encouraged him through the process. So who are you surrounding yourself with today? Who's encouraging you? Who's discouraging you is just as important. Tell them. You know, it's being honest with people. Get skills to communicate. We teach those here too, right? How to deal with conflict. When someone says, oh, that's not your future, well, I beg to differ. Actually, I feel very called to this, and I feel compelled to get started and take these action steps. Go do them. As people see you becoming successful, you'll become a magnet to them. Like, wow, how did this person do that? It's simply by sitting down and taking your dreams, making goals out of those, and then taking action steps. See, people talk to me about their dreams all the time. And dreams are unfulfilled. What I like watching is dreams become reality. And that's because dreams get turned into goals that get to turned into basically objectives, and objectives into daily goals. And when people do that, you watch them begin to accomplish what they were created to accomplish on this earth. And when you look at it, are you helping people? Because are you aligned to the Creator? Are you aligned to His mission? Are you helping people? If you're helping people, there is a good chance you are perfectly aligned. And so I just want to encourage you today to start taking action to achieve your goals for the life that you want. And thank you for joining this episode of Freedom Lifestyle.